afternoon and welcome to the 28th in our series of Tea Tuesday events and the 11th of 2022. My name is Hilary Woodhead. I am NAPA's Executive Director and I'm delighted to host these live events which enable me to drink tea. I've got my Christmassy mug today. Oh, Natalie's got jingle. And talk to industry experts and friends about topics of mutual interest. And this is a very special edition of Tea Tuesday. It's the December issue, and we are preparing for Christmas. So although we are only in November, we know that care homes, care services start to plan for Christmas around this time. And so what we wanted to do is to bring you a special edition of Tea Tuesday all about Christmas and end of year festivities. And we do love Christmas here at NAPA. It really is a special time. We love the colours, we love the celebrations, we love the singing, we love giving presents and receiving presents. We love the decorations and we love the lights. All of these things keep us warm as the winter wind blows and the days get shorter. Tea Tuesday is always a free event. If you would like to make a small donation, perhaps the price of a cup of tea or coffee, you can do that on our donate page, and our colleague has just put up the information along the bottom of the screen there for you to make a donation should you wish to. This is a live event. It's being streamed across several channels, and all comments that you make will be gathered centrally and sent to us so that we can respond to the comments, and any questions that you ask, we can answer those the best we can throughout the time that we're together this afternoon. You will need to enable StreamYard in order for us to see your name. So if you're able to do that, then we know you're here live with us this afternoon. So we're going to be discussing all things Christmas and the range of Christmas activity resources that we have free of charge for all care and support services here at NAPA. And we hope that these will inspire your Christmas programme planning. Of course, we believe that everybody has the right to live a content, creative and connected life. We know this is a time of year where there are lots of opportunities to celebrate. There are lots of great events. And actually, we've been able to really celebrate the autumn with a range of resources inspired by you, asked for by you, around Diwali and Bonfire Night, Halloween, and of course at the weekend, Remembrance Day. And so our next set of resources are all around kind of the end of year celebrations, so Christmas, but also Hanukkah. So there are lots of other celebratory resources that you can access through the shed if you're a member, through the shop if you're not a member, and free of charge for the Christmas resources and the calendars. So it is my great pleasure to introduce you to Natalie. Natalie is our Wellbeing Support Manager here at NAPA. And I have to say, she really is our Christmas elf. So she reminds us at the beginning, actually towards the end of October, that it's nearly Christmas. And we have to assert that it's not quite Christmas, Natalie. But Natalie loves all things Christmas. What's your favourite thing about Christmas, Natalie?
Gosh, well, apart from being sat here dressed up to the high hills in everything that is, including the earrings that are very festive today, Hilary, I think for me, over the years of working as an activity provider, and, you know, we can list off the obvious, which is watching people celebrate and be happy, and the families come together, or friends that they're not seen for a while, because that's normally the time we connect. For me, I think it's got to be light. And there is a beautiful piece that is in the current December calendar. If you've not yet downloaded it, please go and have a look. And there is a section called Let There Be Light. And it was so beautiful to read and learn all about how light is used within many different cultures and religion right throughout the winter season. And as you mentioned, some of the resources that we've made around Diwali and Hanukkah, but there's Kwanzaa as well, which is an African-American celebration that has 7 days of lighting candles. And there was just something beautiful that when you go past someone's house and you can see the twinkling fairy lights on, or you can smell or see a log burner. And then also the way of putting light into the activity programs. Quite often at this time of year, we'll see lots of you guys being really creative, without even probably realizing the power that light has. And it brings us joy during them dark, as you said, blustery, sometimes cold evenings.
Lovely, thank you. And when you just mentioned the importance of all those elements of Christmas, but I must just mention that we have at the moment a plea out. Really, we are celebrating Christmas all around the world, aren't we? Particularly around how we celebrate with food all around the world, and we are collecting recipes from our members, from our friends, from our colleagues, from people who use our services that celebrate Christmas in every single part of the universe, of this planet. So please, if you haven't already sent us a recipe, please do. We're collating all of these recipes into a recipe book, and the recipe book will be published at the beginning of December. So if you'd like to see your name in the book and your recipe in the book, please get in touch with us. You can drop us a line through the support service, or you can just email Jana, that's communications@napa-activities.co.uk, and we'd love to include your contribution in our book. So just moving us on then, so just to help us to think a little bit about how we develop our resources here at Napa and kind of where our inspiration comes from. Can you tell us a bit about some of the inquiries that you've received about Christmas? Are there any kind of commonly asked or frequently asked questions? Are there any themes that emerge around Christmas?
Yeah, I would say the top number one theme that we often get asked is ideas. Activity resources. What can I do? I think we have a mix of activity providers that contact us through the support services, and they will often say, I'm new, or I've been doing this job for a while. Can you give me any fresh ideas, or can you give me some inspiring ideas? I've got low budgets. So where can I get creative with, recycling materials? And we find that most of them conversations are based around that. But we also have the obvious, which, for the last couple of years has been coming through round about this time. And I'm sure you know what I'm going to say. But if we go into lockdown, how can I quickly adapt or have a hybrid kind of resource that I can change in a moment's notice, because Monday everything might be fine, and then Tuesday you come in on a handover, and unfortunately we're into that situation again where APs are having to really think and adapt quickly. So they're the two main questions that we get coming through. And then the third one I would say is normally around about Christmas fairs or fetes, fundraising. How can I fundraise? What ideas have you got? And connections with the community, because some have sadly, unfortunately, lost a lot of their connections with their community, and they want to re-engage again. So they tend to be the top three main questions that we get asked through the support services.
I think it never really fails to amaze us, does it, that no matter how many resources we develop and our colleagues across the sector develop in terms of activity provision, is that more ideas is always the top, inquiry, isn't it? And I think there's a really good reason for that. I mean, we all love traditions, don't we? And I know that we have probably in our own lives, our own families, Christmas traditions, but we also want new ideas, don't we, and fresh ideas, because as the generations change, as we are thinking much more inclusively, as I said, about celebrating everybody's experience of the winter months and Christmas, that might enable us to be quite diverse in the way that we provide an activity program over this particular time of year. So keep those questions coming. We're never fed up of hearing, are we? Can we have more resources? Can we have more ideas? And I think your point about connecting with the community is a really important one as well. We're hearing a lot from our care services, our Napa members, that visits from families are still not quite where they were in terms of how often families are visiting, and when they are visiting, they're visiting for short periods of time. and also, you know, being able to go out and about in the community has also been really affected during this time. So, you know, anything that we can do through the support line, through the activity support service, just to talk through any of those concerns you have about visiting and about being out about at Christmas, please do give us a ring on the support line. So can you tell us a little bit about how we create the resources at Napa? You run the service, you manage the activity support service. Can you tell us a little bit about who we consult with, how we develop our ideas?
Yes, of course, it's you guys, everyone watching, hopefully. And you know, I do manage the support line service. We have the support and share network, which meets on the third Monday of every single month at 2:00, and that's free. You can just book your tickets through Eventbrite. It's kind of an activity forum, so it's very confidential and private, and you'll meet activity providers and occupational therapists. There's a whole wide range of people that have come to the support and share network, and it's just an hour to share ideas. And then we also have the Napa members activity providers advisory group, so the APA group, who also discuss, share, talk about ideas, resources, things that they find that they need, the current situation that they're working in with at the moment. And then also, not just through the support and share, the support line and the APA group, but increasingly through our Facebook and social media groups. You know, we are constantly listening to and watching what's happening, what are the trends that are taking part, what is it that APs are asking for, how can we assist, and then the individuals themselves. So quite often we do get feedback via the support service from the individuals that you support within the care sector, and ultimately it is about supporting the activity providers, but it's also about making sure that what they're providing is in line of being person-centered and encouraged by the individuals they support. So we have a whole range of means of how we develop the resources, and then we don't just run off. You know, we are experts in some areas, but we also have a bunch of advisors that work with us to build our resources, to make sure that the content we're putting out that you've asked for is importantly correct.
Yeah. Absolutely. Brilliant. Thank you for that. So shall we have a look at some of the resources that are available? And do you want to just take us through each of them? Because there's quite a few, aren't there? So we'll skip through this, but just take us through the resource pack to start with.
So we've developed obviously this free resource pack. This is the main, so the packs are all made up of different sections, but this is the main bulk of the pack, what you're looking at right now. And in here is some fantastic stuff. I think one of my favorite things is, again, you know, we're not all walking encyclopedias, but it's a fascinating facts section for me. So it talks about one of the things that I love in it, discusses about how Coca-Cola were the developers of the illustration of who Santa Claus or Father Christmas look like. And I just loved reading that. And then we've got things in here like YouTube videos and links to music and what is Christmas. You know, I think really importantly, we just assume everyone knows the story and history of Christmas. And we work with different cultures, different generations. Things get passed down, things get watered down, you know, but it's always nice to go back to them interesting conversations around actually what is Christmas, what is the meaning of Christmas, and why does that kind of religion celebrate that, what is everything that encompasses Christmas. And then we also have, and it's lovely, it's like I'm just watching it now, it's amazing, but we also have all these recipes and activity ideas, acrostic poems, decorating. There is so much in this main pack in itself, and quizzes as well, of course, everyone wants quizzes, that, you know, you could just use this in itself. However, we decided to add more because you asked and we listened. And we also have the Christmas bonus pack. Again, in this Christmas bonus pack, you could just use this, but we have, as said there, we have display boards, images that you can print off, borders for your actual activity boards. We have conversation starters, so there's some fantastic images in here that you could just print off and either do creative writing with, or just use to generally have a conversation when families visit. That I think they're really useful for that, Hilary. You know, laminate them, pop them out, maybe put some questions on the back if you want to. And then we have gift tags, There's just so much in this bonus pack. On top of that, yes, there is more. We also have the Christmas planner. Activity providers, a few months back ago now, when we started producing these, we're saying, you know, sometimes planning everything. I think it was a Jubilee actually, planning everything, getting prepared. Sometimes I can get a bit lost. Is there anything specifically out there that you can help with? And we developed, with some support from the APA, the Christmas, the planner, the activity providers planner. And the best thing about this, Hilary, is should, you know, something happen, unfortunately, God forbid, you don't come into work the day after and you've planned all this Christmas fete or you've got this event going on, it's a kind of mini handover as well. So everyone knows where everything is. You know,
like a project plan, really.
Yeah, like a project plan. You know, and we have had feedback that this actually saved an event taking place because the AP had put everything in here, and the manager, the care home manager, was very quickly able to support and implement that continuing. And then we have the sketch and colour pads, and also the photo. Here's the sketch and colour pads, as if by magic. It is Christmas. So the sketch and colour pads are fantastic again. There's some great images in there that you can use to hold craft session. Or one of the things I've seen an AP do with one of these is they had them coloured and then cut off and glued on to like obviously non-burning candles, but it just looks really impressive the way they've done it. So it's not just about using this for colouring or painting or sketching. You can use it in other ways as well, or even Christmas cards, because there is an activity resource in the main pack on how to make Christmas cards. And then the photo albums. So the Nappers photo album is here as well, which is fantastic. And again, this is something that we introduced based on feedback. So all in all, that whole pack is just hopefully something that will help you in or inspire you in developing your activity program over the festive period. If there is something that is missing or you think needs to be added, I'm not sure what, but maybe there is, who knows, we would love to hear from you. Please get in touch with us. If you think, you know, I don't know, I would love X, Y, or Z, we'd love to add that in there. If you think there's not enough resources, however, if you pair that with the December calendar, which is out and available now, and that has, as we know, an activity resource and a national day for every single day of December. Hopefully we've provided you with enough inspiration and support.
And I think one of the concerns I think sometimes that we have as a team, but also that we're aware of, is that people might say, well, all of my residents are living with dementia, or they have differing abilities, or maybe they have a sensory impairments. Could you just say a little bit about how people can adapt to these activities, and if they're struggling, how we can help?
Well, first and foremost, it's knowing your individuals, isn't it? It's their life story. We want to know what their history is. And we have been asked this before on the support line as, you know, well, I've done this activity, but it wouldn't suit Mrs. B, for example. But the resources are there as a foundation, as a guide for you to use and adapt. It would be impossible for us to sit and tailor to every single individual's need. And then that's because everyone is individual. And you know, if you need support with that, if you feel you want to do a session or you want to do a resource and you're not quite sure how to adapt it for Mrs. B, pick up the phone and give me a call, and we can discuss that on an individual basis. But you should hopefully be able to adapt all our resources, whether that's in a group session or a one-to-one.
Yeah. And then in the introduction part of every monthly calendar, we actually give quite a lot of detailed information about how to do that, don't we? And we use the PAL, the pool activity level. So again, if you want any more information about that, please get in touch. And we have lots of training opportunities around supporting and people with different abilities, people living with dementia, etc. So, you know, there is lots of support there for you. We have got some questions now coming in, I'm pleased to say. So the first question is from Lane. So Lane says, I am new to the role, not really sure where to start. The care staff keep saying it's a busy time of year and we need lots and we need lots happening. And we need lots happening. Yes. Where can I look to find ideas, etc.?
Well, that's something we often hear. Well done, Lane. Congratulations. Welcome to the role. It's great. And do give us a call if you need any support. We are here. But where to start? Don't try and overachieve. Don't try and push yourself too far that you're setting yourself up to fail. If you're new to the role, start with what you're comfortable with, but be led by the individuals that you support. So as I mentioned before, think about life history, the life story of the individuals, and then maybe have a little bit of an informal meeting group with the people you support, and ask them what they want to do over the festive period. Talk to some families as they visit, and discuss with your staff teams as well. What have they done previously, what worked, and what would they like to get involved in, where can they support you, and then try and sit down and think about a plan, and maybe your activity program, of what would best suit them. But there is so much on the NAPA website, and if you're a NAPA member, I don't know if you are, but there's lots of thousands of stuff in the shed. And then lastly, last year we ran a very successful Winterfest, which was so well attended, and the videos from that are up on NAPA TV. If you're watching from there, hi, on YouTube. There is some great real practice stories and guidance from working APs around sensory, and we've got some information on spirituality, physical exercise and well-being. So go and have a look at them. They're only short videos as well.
Brilliant. And just to say, you mentioned life story, and that really is the foundation for everything, isn't it? Really, really important. So thank you for mentioning that, Natalie. And just to let everybody know that the life story, the NAPA life story template, is on our free resources page. Adapt it, use it as many times as you like, integrate it into what you've got already. It's regularly reviewed, and that is available for you too. Absolutely the starting point for everything. One of the things that was mentioned by Elaine was we need lots happening. That can be quite a lot of pressure, can't it, this time of year? Yeah. We know ourselves, don't we, that any major celebration, whether it's a family wedding, Christmas, a big family birthday, there can be a lot of pressure around it all being a success. And I don't know about you, but we used to say in my family, it's not been a good Christmas unless there's been a good row. So just in terms of the pressure around these big events, do you want to just say a little bit about taking care of yourself and expectations?
I think if one thing that COVID has taught us, things have changed. Okay, some of us have lost our connections. Some of us might not find the support that we had previously from families, friends, and volunteers. And it's okay not to have, as I call it, Hilary, butlins happening within your care service. It's about the individual's support, what they're receiving and how they're feeling, and that doesn't always have to be bells, whistles, singing, dancing. It can be something as intimate as a coffee and a conversation. And I think we need to just lay off a little bit ourselves and our expectations and really strip ourselves back down as to what is the importance of what we're providing. And that is well-being, not butlins. I think that's so important. And I think if as care teams, they have a really challenging job to do. The APs have, everyone in that care service has a vital and important role to play. Maintenance, cooks, housekeepers, all of you. And I think we just need to just be mindful of that at times, that we're all facing challenges on a daily basis. And if you need any support through that, please do contact the support line. Please reach out to your line managers as well. Have them open conversations. It's okay. It's okay.
And actually, it might not be everybody's thing to have a big Christmas. Christmas can, for some people, be quite a difficult time, can't it? And this is something that, again, over the years, we've heard quite a bit from our members, from our activity providers, that actually, any major event, not just Christmas, but sometimes can be difficult for people, especially if they're lonely, or they've had, a traumatic experience in the past around this time. People who are living with depression. I think it's really important that we acknowledge the sadness as well and all the losses that people have experienced, and that certain anniversaries, certain times of year, can mean that that's a difficult time for them. So again, just a reminder really that not everybody will want to have a singing, dancing Christmas. They might want to have, as you say, some of those more intimate conversations about why this time of year is so poignant for people.
And we discussed that in the Christmas pack, and we've discussed that as the APA group around having areas that are not decorated. I think we need to have safe zones, quiet zones, areas that, like you said, people are triggered by this, or it might, they might not even celebrate it. Again, we just automatically, I probably assume sometimes that everyone must celebrate Christmas. It's a given, and it's not. So I think it's okay to think about areas where you don't have a Christmas tree up, and you've got some activity programs that are not about Christmas. And you've got an alternative in place for someone that just, many people have supported. I'm sure you have, Hilary, and I'm sure people watching throughout the years. Just like not everyone likes children, or everyone likes cooking or gardening, some people just generally do not want to celebrate Christmas at this time of year, and we should be supporting them with their choices.
Absolutely. We've got another question. This one's from Freddie. Freddie says, lots of ideas to support us when we get into lockdown. I'm worried we will plan all this amazing stuff and then we can't do it. And this is an ongoing issue, isn't it? Do you want to just say a little bit about Plan Bs?
Yeah, Freddie. First, thank you very much for your kind comment. We're always here to try and help with as I keep calling it, a hybrid approach towards activities, in person, and then if we should have to go into lockdown. And it is very sad, and I understand completely, because I worked right throughout COVID as an activity provider myself before joining NAPA, and I was thrusted into this moment where we're used to the TV not working, or we're used to an entertainer not turning up, but having to the uncertainty all the time in the back of your mind when you've put your heart and soul and extra hours into planning a Christmas fete. Again, I suppose it comes down to, we can't stop what might happen, but what we can do is try and make sure that, maybe using like the Christmas planner, for example, that you have a plan B. So maybe you have an in-person event, if it's a big event you're doing, and a plan B for online or connecting through letters or gifts that you can have there to back up. And that forward thinking, that forward planning won't stop the disappointment, but it should ease your stress levels if you have to change it at a drop of a hat. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, good advice. Thank you. And all the questions are coming in now. We've now got one from Sarah. And this is a really interesting one. This is something very close to our hearts here at NAPA. I really want to get the kitchens and the kitchen team involved this year. Any ideas on how I can do this and what we can do?
Gosh.
This is very important at all times of year, but particularly at this time of year, I would think, involving the kitchen teams. Do you want to say?
I'm so glad this question has come in. Thank you so much, Sarah. Yes, at NAPA, we have been focusing a lot recently on the relationship between activity providers and catering teams. And it is literally a match made in heaven, because catering teams, especially your catering managers, they're all about supporting people's nutritional benefits and increasing intake and the quality of their produce and their food and what they present. And the APs are always needing food and drinks to go with their activities. So to me, it's a given. I would start by thinking about, what about a Christmas breakfast club this year? What about 1st of December? And if you have a care setting that is maybe 60 people that live there, think about having on a rota maybe about 6 people for breakfast. Bring them in an area that's specifically set up. Think about your environment, the music, and again, go back to the life stories, because I want to make sure that they're happy to celebrate Christmas. And look at it in that context. Start with a breakfast club. I think that's really simple and easy. You can build on that with movie nights. You can build on that with a Christmas meal specifically, where you invite the community if you're able, or a group of school children maybe want to come along to the breakfast club. Local policemen, your community officers, anyone you've been working with, volunteers. yeah, and work with your kitchen. But I would start with Breakfast Club. That's the most simplest thing.
That's a really good question. And just as it's come up, I will plug, we do have a survey out at the moment with our partners, Lakeland Dairies, which is all about the essential relationship between the activity provider and the catering teams. How can we support those relationships really, really, because it is an essential relationship, isn't it? And all of that data at the moment, as it's coming in, we're making sense of it. And there's going to be a webinar as part of National Activity Providers and Professionals Week on the 25th of January. So there'll be much more about that next week. In Napa News, we're going to be launching Nap Week and what you can expect, and a full program will be available. But just ahead of that, as it's come up, if you're interested in improving or sharing your practice around food-based activities and this relationship with your catering teams, please have a look at the survey and please come along to that webinar. But thank you for that, Sarah. It's like a plant, wasn't she? That was perfect.
Yeah, I love that.
And I think we've got another question coming in. We've got one now coming in from Ellie. So Ellie says, do you have any craft ideas which we can do to raise funds? Oh, interesting. So there's two things here. I think there's the crafting, but also issues around fundraising. Any thoughts on that one?
Yes, we have a great fundraising guide if you want to go out and check that out, Ellie. I'll plug that first and foremost. And it's got lots of ideas and support there, and how you can also fundraise for Napa if you're interested. But the craft ideas themselves, there is so many in these resources that were provided free to you. And of course, I don't know again if you're a Napa member, Ellie, but if you are, head over into the shed. Thousands of resources that will help you. But from crafting, a top three, Christmas baubles. You can produce them with some air drying clay, and you can decorate and paint them in clear varnish, nice ribbon. They always sell really well. You could even put them on your reception. Card making, again, another given. You can make Christmas cards. And then one of my favorites is reindeer cones. So they often sell for £1. They're cheap and cheerful. You can buy a load of piping bags, and you can get some really cheap hot chocolate. So it's really cheap to make. A big bag of marshmallows, and then you can get some curly, I forgot what they're called, Hilary, pipe cleaners.
Pipe cleaners.
Pipe cleaners and goggly eyes. So you can buy them and probably spend about £5 on the whole setup. And then, you can make them, and again, make them into hot chocolate reindeers, and they can sell for £1 or £1.50 on your reception desk or whatever you're doing. Hopefully you'll make something and get out into a community, guys. Go to other people's Christmas fetes. Don't just think about your own. Think about where you can be seen in the community and be visible, and see what's around you locally this year and where you can raise funds as well.
That's a great idea. Okay, we've got one coming in now from David, and it's quite interesting because I think we've touched on this already, but it is important to reinforce this issue. What can we do for those who do not celebrate or find Christmas a trigger? I know we've talked about a couple of things, but do you just want to reinforce that message?
Yeah, David. I don't know where you came in, David, but as I mentioned previously, not everyone wants to celebrate or does celebrate Christmas, and we have to understand that that's okay. I know there's this expectation, as we mentioned before, that it's Christmas, everyone should be celebrating, we should be dead vibrant, we should have loads of vomited Christmas decorations and music playing, and in this full on activity program. And in reality, we need to understand as staff and accept that might not be the case. We're there caring for them individuals. We have to be led by them. If, for example, for me, my house is fully decorated and I go to work somewhere where people don't celebrate, I'm okay with that. That's fine. We don't put our beliefs on. So it's really important that first and foremost, that's the thought process that we have. We understand an individual's life story, and then we have areas within our service that are not full of Christmas. Maybe there is no Christmas music playing. That's not being bar humbug, and we shouldn't use that language, because that means something to someone. There's a reason that they will feel comfortable sitting in that space. Yeah. And the alternative activity program, as I mentioned before, maybe a couple of times a week having something to do with Christmas, but the rest of the time trying to stick with your original program, because some people will appreciate that routine.
That's a very important point. And finding Christmas a trigger, you know, call the helpline, the NAPA support line. We're here to help you, to talk through any particular issues that that perhaps become apparent over the next few weeks with regards to Christmas. We're not a crisis line, but we are part of the Helplines partnership. And so we can signpost you to crisis support lines for people whose mental health is affected by the Christmas season. And then I think we'll go to Sophie's question now. So Sophie says, I love the Christmas resource pack. Thank you very much, Sophie. She's already had a look at it. I can't tell you how much it has saved me, how much time it has saved me. I just wanted to say thank you. Well, thank you very much, Sophie. Not a question, just a lovely comment. So obviously, I can't quite believe we're nearly out of time. So thank you to everybody who's joined us this afternoon and for your questions. This, of course, will be out and about. It will be, it's live now on our social media platforms, but keep sharing it. Share it with your networks, and of course, let your colleagues and your teams know that this is now available for them to watch at any time, whenever it suits them. It's a great time of year, as we've said, for seasonal celebrations and events. There's lots happening. There's lots happening right across the services. We know that you have lots of lovely things planned. Please let us know. Please tell us. Please tag us in your social media posts. Send us your photographs. We'd love to hear what you get up to. And of course, we're ready. We're all ready for our new year. Looking forward to January already. If you are still able to, please download all of the resources that have been available over this season. I think at the moment we're on about 40,000 downloads for the autumnal resources that we've put out so far. They're still available. They will be continue to be available to you, because of course some of them will be relevant any day of the year, not just in terms of those themes, which we say ever such a lot. You know, please do make the most of them whenever you need to, for however long you need to. And I suppose the last thing to say really is just to mention my fantastic new hoodie.
I love it.
my Christmas NAPA hoodie. I do like a NAPA hoodie. We have a series of Christmas merchandise. Oh, look, there it is. To look at, you can order it, and you can wear it. So fantastic, makes great presents and a great fundraiser for NAPA, so that we can continue to provide so much of what we do for you for free or at very low cost. Our next Tea Tuesday event will take place on the 24th of January. I will be chatting and drinking tea. Oh, my tea's nearly cold, Natalie. Have a slow quick.
I've been drinking my jingle jangle.
Good. I will be chatting and drinking tea with Dr. Hayley Lewis, and we will be discussing the importance of self-care for activity providers at a very important time of year. So after we've all worked our socks off, it's really important to reflect and take stock and think about how we're going to look after ourselves over the next 12 months. This forms part of the week's events for National Activity Providers and Professionals Week, which runs from the 23rd to the 27th of January. And we will be launching our year off for 2023. And this year, in consultation with our members, we have agreed on the theme of connected communities. So do look out for NAP Week. The programme, as I've said, will be available next week in NAPA News. Thank you to Natalie for her incredible expertise, knowledge and experience. As always, she always has an answer. Absolutely amazing. Thank you, Natalie. Do keep in touch with us. Give her a ring on the support line, where the support line is open Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. You can also join our closed Facebook support group, or you can attend our monthly activity forum, the Support and Share Network. But for now, our time is up. Please share this live event. But for now, take care and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas.